Durag Wisdom here, folks. Welcome to Earth Date Y2K18.04.23. 197 days until our midterm elections. On Democratic's irresponsible stupidity, Rachel Maddow wrong, Alex Wagner right. Rachel Maddow and I were jubilant when I heard the news from her that the DNC is suing traitor Trump, the GOP, the Russians, WikiLeaks, and my dead mother and father for election tampering that led to the loss of Hillary Clinton. I literally almost came when I heard the news. Maddow and her presidential expert Michael Beschloss told of the precedent for this action going back to the DNC during the Watergate era. I was literally almost dancing around my living room. I was even going to bash my head on my ceiling. I jumped so high. I was blown up like a wonderful hot air balloon, floating up into the azure sky, defying gravity itself. And then later, on Bill Maher, Alex Wagner, one of his guests and a co-host of Showtime's The Circus, stuck a pin in me, and I crashed into the earth, deflated, learning bitterly that no rejoicing is allowed until the good news is absolutely analyzed and verified. Full disclosure, folks, I get my main broadcast news from Rachel Maddow, who I really respect, Lawrence O'Donnell, who I highly respect, the Young Turks, who I highly respect, including Jim Dory, who I kind of respect, and Robert Reich, who I really respect. I also enjoy the works of Bill Maher, Steve Colbert, and John Oliver. Alex Wagner co-hosts a show, The Circus, that I should have already added to my list. When the topic of the DNC suit came up, it became abundantly clear in Wagner's body language and in what she said, and what she said was that almost the entire validity of the suit should be called into question because the DNC itself, under the steady and competent control of Debbie Wasserstupping-Schultz, knew of Russian hacking into their servers at least a year before the elections. I don't believe that anyone took this hacking seriously in a world of life and death where almost everything should be taken seriously. The most important point that Ms. Wagner was making is that the DNC should concentrate not on the past, but on the future. Forget about what was already done, without letting these Putin scum get away with anything, of course, and concentrate on the vital issues that will make voters go blue instead of blah, blah, blah. Democrats must run on the following issues. Trump is a tyrant in waiting, who understands little or nothing about our democratic republic. He has publicly stated and written that he wants journalists to be jailed, that he wants his political adversaries to be jailed. He is trying to turn the Justice Department into his own thought police. The Democratic Party must first and foremost say that it stands for our Constitution and the rule of law. Trump and his GOP do not. Democrats must run on draining the Trump, which is supposed to rhyme with swamp. They must point out that this traitor Trump administration is one of the most corrupt since the presidency of Warren G. Harding. Look at Jonathan Chait's article in New York Magazine about this corruption, what it's costing us. He and his cabinet are enriching themselves at our expense. Trump has still not revealed his tax returns, and he is still corruptly involved with his business. The Democratic Party must also focus on the corruption of Trump, his failure to drain the Trump, and the enabling of the GOP of this era. If this traitor Trump's environmental policies come to pass, get ready for more contaminated waterways, filled with poison. Get ready to see the assault on our pristine, holy public lands. If you don't want your children poisoned by Trumpian deregulation, vote Democratic. The Democrats must clearly show that they are separate and different from their GOP and Trump-Putin foes. Republicans want to destroy Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and the Affordable Care Act. Republicans want to privatize everything, including our public schools and our prisons. Republicans want to make it more difficult to get food stamps. Republicans want to make it more and more difficult for young people to get a college education. Republicans want to destroy the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau so that once again the people can be victimized by predatory lenders and by banks in general. Republicans support racism, misogyny, homophobia, and xenophobia. Republicans support denying a woman's right to choose or the right to control her body in general. I don't want a goddess damn Handmaid's Tale in my country. F them and F those religious extremist scum. Republicans want to build walls. Republicans support pushing fundamentalist religious ideas down our throats whether we want it or not. Republicans do not respect the separation of church and state. Republicans do not believe that the super rich should pay their fair share in taxes. They would rather give them our life's blood rather than making them pay what they should to help make our world a better place. The Republican Party of this era stands for war and even nuclear, with the belief that their rich white race will be the only survivors after they instigate such a catastrophic event. Alex Wagner, thank you Alex, has reminded me that the Democratic Party has vital issues to run on. Issues that will make them win resoundingly in 2018 and in 2020. But instead, they prefer to jerk us all off into their socks with perhaps a frivolous lawsuit. Here's what the Democratic corporate creeps should be saying, whoever they run. Democratic presidential candidate X. Real leadership, not reality show doomsday chaos. Now that's a slogan I could lose my bridge over.